Hey guys, how's it going? Zombie here with ZNR Gaming. Today we're looking at Far Cry 5, guys, and we are just under a week away before this game comes out, and the hype train is real right now. A lot of people are on it, including myself, and I've gone out there and I've probably watched nearly every piece of footage out there. Um, Guys, it looks awesome. I don't have any actual footage for myself, of course, but I have looked through it, and I'm just gonna do some highlights on some of the stuff I've seen for the game itself, some of the features they've got in, some of the modes and other things of that nature. None of this is scripted, so if I do forget something or if any of this information is wrong, it's just stuff I've heard people say in interviews and other stuff and the things I've seen in the gameplay. Now, start off with it, we're going to go ahead and jump into the single player aspect. Now, Far Cry 5, like other Far Cries, drops you in a massive world, guys, and this one is bigger than anyone we've seen so far. Like Ghost Recon Wildlands, it is split into regions. There are 5 total, I believe, from what I understand. There's the tutorial area at the start. There are 3 main, and then I believe there may be a 5th in-game area as well. But going through these 3 main areas, they're controlled by different members of the Seed family, and they have their own enemies and features and other things of that nature. But to work your way through these areas, guys, the campaign is not linear. If you go to one area, you can work on it, go to another one, work on that one as well. And the way you progress in the story, there are some particular missions, but a lot of it is you do side missions, or you just go around freeing civilians or killing cult members that are just randomly located around the world. And it will fill up an experience bar or a resistance meter, I think is what it's actually called. And for different sections of this resistance meter, during milestones, different things will happen, increasing the difficulty of the enemies in that area, potentially sending stronger ones after you. I believe there may be actually some that come from the air, some that are just more heavily armored type of situations, but it will continue to make the game progressively harder. Campaign can be played offline, of course. That was a concern for some people, considering some games like Destiny 2 that do require an online connection. Um, the campaign itself, they say, should take at least 25 hours, but with the all the side activities they have, including hunting and fishing and other things of exploration, they are going to potentially take longer. One thing they have removed from this Far Cry game that we've seen in so many others is the towers. I do believe there is one in there that is more of a nod to the rest and kind of a joke as well. I think one of the characters may reference that they'll never have you climb one again, but after that point, all intelligence gathering comes from finding things around the world and from talking to people in towns and other areas. Next, we have we'll jump right to co-op, guys, because co-op in this game is excellent on the aspect of you can do the entire campaign, the game, every piece of it. Side missions can be done in co-op. The pros and cons of this, you can do everything with a friend. I'm a massive supporter of co-op. Nearly anything I play has to have cooperative capabilities. I do play games solo, of course, but I do like to have that option to play with friends. Now, the pros and cons of this, the way the cooperative system works, if you're used to the tethering system that they have in later Far Cry games or earlier Far Cry games, I guess be the best way to put it. You can go on your own in the world, but you only have a short distance you can go from each other. You won't be able to attack 2 strongholds or 2 outposts at different times or handle different missions. Once you get to a certain distance, unlike most, which I believe previous ones just yanked you back to the same location, potentially I think loading the game for both or one person, the guest in the game. Now it causes damage between the characters until they die or work their way back toward each other. I'm not a fan of this. Ghost Recon Wildlands, I loved going on my own, working on things that I wanted to work on. Maybe I wanted to hunt in a certain area, fish in a certain area in this type of scenario, and one of my friends wants to go handle an outpost and doesn't need my help and doesn't necessarily want it potentially, or I just don't want to do that myself. We're working on 2 separate things, and all of a sudden I'm pulled to them or they're pulled to me. It's it's kind of dampens the idea of playing cooperative for a lot of people. The idea of playing cooperative in an open world is being able to come together when need be, and whenever you don't have to, you don't. Now, like Ghost Recon Wildlands, the system I think they should implement is when one person starts a mission, it should offer the ability to join that mission as well. Also, missions should not be joinable from a particular person until that person has unlocked to that state. That way, there's no boosting going on past the point of just teamwork. Now, to get into that aspect, guys, when you jump into cooperative play with a friend, which I believe is capable after the first 30 minutes to an hour, your progress will not be saved. Now, if you are the host of the game, if you are the main person, any progression that happens in the game will go toward your game. But if you're working with a buddy and you're helping them out, nothing you do will progress. Now, that is for campaign. I want to make sure that's understood. Now, any money or experience or not resistance but experience, weapons, anything you unlock or acquire in that aspect will transfer back to your game. So there are benefits to this, but if you jump in with someone and you play 3-4 hours co-op, you're just running through the campaign, only the person who hosts the game is actually going to get the benefit of that campaign. The partner who comes in will get the money, they will get the weapons, they will get the experience, it will help them through theirs next, but they're going to have to redo these areas as well. Also, with that aspect, talking about cooperative, I'm going to talk about creation. There are ways to customize both the character on his facial features and the clothing he wears as well. The clothing can be unlocked multiple times throughout the game, and it allowing you to change outfits. I do believe I saw footage where you were able to go back and change your hairstyle. Now, the base facial features, skin tone, things of that nature will probably be a one-time set. But what this is for, guys, it's a first-person game, and there are no cinematics. So this character that you're designing is only for cooperative play when you're playing with friends. I believe that's probably going to go for the multiplayer aspect as well, for deathmatch or other game modes where you're playing online with other people. They're going to see what you look like, but your character would never be seen in your game. So anything that you design is mostly for the cooperative play. If you're never going to play co-op, you're never going to play online with other people, then you're not really going to want to spend a lot of time on the creation process. I know I'm going to spend way too much myself. Next, we're going to get into the Fangs for Hire. Fangs for Hire are animals that they've placed around the map, and to get these animals, we know of at least right now, there's a bear called Cheeseburger, there's a dog, which I believe is called Boomer, and there's a cougar as well. To unlock these animals, you have to do a particular missions. I think Boomer, you can go ahead and I'm sorry if I'm saying the wrong name, but I believe you can go ahead and get him on the mission that you find him. Cheeseburger, I do believe there's a series of missions that you have to do and tasks you have to perform. The cougar, I'm not sure of as of yet, but once you have done these particular tasks, you can call these animals in to help. The dog has the ability to distract enemies. I believe he'll go into areas like outposts and other things and kind of be overlooked since he is a dog. This is Montana. These things are useful. They're normal to be seen walking around, so he'll be able to spot enemies for you and get close to enemies without alerting them ahead of time. That'll be a good thing for some stealth missions. You also have the bear Cheeseburger, which is a bullet sponge. He aggroes the enemies, brings them toward him. He tears through them, does a lot of damage. These animals can go down, of course, but Cheeseburger will take as much of a beating as he's been dealing out to the enemy, which will definitely help you if you're going loud and proud, I guess you could say, and spraying and praying. The third animal is the cougar. We know that the cougar is in there, but that's not something we've seen gameplay of, or at least I haven't, and I've looked. I'm not exactly sure the play style that the cougar is going to have, how he's going to support exactly. Boomer, getting back to him, another thing he can do is bring you weapons from enemies as well. That'll be good for if you see a particular one you want that you may not have on hand at the time or yet, or if you need additional ammo. For the talking about the Fangs for Hire, the cooperative is also known as Friends for Hire, which when you get in, if you see that, that's what it is. and then we have the guns for hire as well. Now, guns for hire are different people that you help out, just like the things for hire. You do particular missions, and you will unlock these these allies. Now, there are key ones, and there are side ones, I believe weaker ones, that are just random people that you can meet to help you out. The key people we know of right now, one is Herc, who has made appearances in past Far Cry's. A lot of people are happy to see him in this one, and he carries a bazooka blowing up everything in sight. Another one we have is a sniper who is very accurate from the footage I've seen online. Great for support, especially if you want to do sniping missions. We also have a archer, or hunter if that's what you want to call her, who is very good as well for stealth missions and very deadly. And then last but not least, whenever you just want to cause some damage, we also have a pilot, which will drop bombs from the sky. Now, all these things look real fun, guys. You can only use one at a time until you get to the skill system or the perk system, which is a system of 50 additional or 50 perks that you can unlock, 5 different categories, 10 each. And on the support one, it allows you to have 2 of these people at one time. More than likely, it'll be 2 things for hire or 2 guns for hire, or 1 of each. The way the perk system works is doing certain things throughout the world, potentially probably through leveling as well. You'll unlock perk points, different amounts depending on what you're doing, and the perks that you unlock will they'll depend on how many perks you have and how many perk points you have and how many it takes to unlock. I've seen ones that increase certain types of ammo. I believe some do damage. You can also do perks for the supporting people as well. You can unlock the wingsuit and the parachute, as well as increasing your health dramatically. There's a wide range of some of the things you can do. I actually think there might be one on hunting and fishing as well, but we'll have to see. Next, we'll get to the live events, what they're called. These are events that they've mentioned they're going to reset every Tuesday, and after the game comes out. And what these are particular goals that you have to acquire. Blow up so many vehicles, kill so many enemies certain ways. This is something that we saw previously in Ghost Recon Wildlands, to where they gave us a task list to complete, and if the task list was completed, we unlocked certain cosmetic items. These should be resetting every week. They shouldn't be too difficult to accomplish. It depends on what they are, and depending on your play style will probably determine the difficulty for you. Okay, guys, next thing I want to mention is the new arcade system that they're going to have. That is just the name they have for the multiplayer mode they're going to have in the game. To access this, you have to actually find these arcade type games located around the world of Far Cry 5. I know they say one of them is going to be in Herc's garage. What you want to do is go and access it, interact with it, and it's going to take you into a menu which we have not seen yet for the PvP and PvE aspect of multiplayer. These modes can be anywhere from infiltrating an area and killing an enemy to, I believe, some survival type modes. They're also going to have, PvP matches to where it's team deathmatch and other game modes of that sort as well. A lot of these will be community created due to the new editor system that they're adding back into Far Cry that they removed previously. The editor itself will have aspects from many different Ubisoft games, including Assassin's Creed Black Flag and Watch Dogs. There's tons of things you can modify, from the weather conditions to the time of day. You can build the buildings, everything around. You can add effects such as fog and other stuff. As I said, the weather conditions. It looked really interesting, the stuff I have seen so far about it and the stuff they've announced. Ubisoft every week is going to pick out a bunch of levels that are community created, and I believe probably due to some of the Ubisoft community as well, to be on a playlist for that week, and they're going to keep doing that for a while, and that'll keep all the multiplayer modes constantly changing. It'll give new maps all the time to play, and who knows, maybe you'll see yours on there as well. It's going to be real fun. The arcade system will be for anywhere from PvE to PvP, considering some of the game modes that you can do. And when the new DLCs drop later, they plan to add additional content. I think they're going to add some between each one as well. The 3 DLCs are going to be Vietnam based, zombie based, and on Mars based. If you've ever seen Starship Troopers, you might get a small remnants of that when you see the creatures and you're fighting them and they're running at you from the preview they showed. And last, we have the vehicles, guys. The vehicles are anything from helicopters. They've added planes to this one, and anything on the ground. We have Mack trucks. We have old muscle cars. We have pickup trucks, all types of things, and you can modify. Well, we've seen most of these probably with new paint jobs, I think we've seen, but also with weapons as well, causing them massive weapons of destruction themselves. Anywhere from the planes for dive bombing to the helicopters for a little more precision cover from the air, maybe especially in co-op, and just using the big Mack truck as a battering ram while you're shooting from it as well. But that's all, guys, for the other stuff I want to touch on. If you like what you see, please like, subscribe, and comment below, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks.